Awesome. Hi, Victoria. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Christa. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to talk with you about your experience working with me, and and hello to the listeners who will be tuning in here.
Yes, hello, everyone.
So we can just get started from the beginning, because I know we've worked together almost a year and a half almost a year and a half. So let's start from the beginning. What were things like before coaching, and what inspired you to work with a coach?
So it's just incredible to imagine a whole year and a half has gone by because so much has changed. But let's go back to the beginning. Back when I was ready to start working with a coach, it was shortly after the pandemic had begun. And my particular office, where I was considered number 3 in the company, the trusted advisor to the COO and the CEO, and I was the go-to person who was just sent around to fix a problem every which way in the company. They had decided to reopen the building shortly after the pandemic had begun. And it was a scary time. I feel like kind of what most folks have gone through with the Great Resignation, I got a head start on well before anyone else had to consider those things, because we were, almost a year out from vaccines being available. Childcare still wasn't available in my area because it was for essential workers. And then there was the risk of me being the only one going to work, bringing things home to my unvaccinated child and adults who were at risk. So that was really crossing a boundary for me, that I did not feel the safety of my family was more important to me at that time. Because remember how many unknowns there were back then. We just didn't still know what was going on. So that was really concerning to me. And then after going back into the office and having a couple of scares where we were potentially exposed, it was just too much. And then I knew I wanted to go somewhere else. But after reflecting on it, I realized, you know what, I don't even still want to do the same job somewhere else. It's not just about the environment. Like, yes, I want to feel appreciated and safe and respected and all of those things, but I don't want to just do this anymore. I realized that wasn't connecting for me anymore. And, with everything going on with the pandemic, it really made me say, well, the time to make a change is now. Like, everything is pointing to, all this scary stuff is going on, but it's also an opportunity. So I really knew that I wanted to do something different, but I also knew that I had no idea what that was. And I had no idea how to figure it out on my own. So I reached out to my friend who had transitioned his career to become a coach, and he referred me to you, and that's how we got connected.
We are. Yes. Awesome. I remember that. And it's wild, because I know you'll talk about your life now, but it's crazy when you say that, just how different things are now. So why don't you tell us, so now after coaching, like a year and a half in, what is your life and your career and your business? What is that like now?
I was thinking about, what has changed, and it's almost easier to ask, what didn't change, because I feel like, everything has changed. So I left my career. I found my purpose through working with you of becoming a coach myself. I went through the training program and am certified. I started my own business. I have clients and been able to work with you to support me throughout that entire journey, which was awesome. Because I know some coaches wouldn't be able to maybe cover that whole process like the way that you were able to. And in my personal life, we're all still working at home. I know that everyone's safe and accounted for. And but what also has happened is kind of a side effect of my husband and I both working from home, is that we've been able to have more quality time as a family, because we're not running around and commuting everywhere and doing all that stuff. So that's been great. And then, just personally, I just feel more connected to things that matter and where I spend my time. And even just thinking back to how I felt before coaching and how I've changed so significantly, because now I feel like I don't have to worry about what anyone else thinks, because I get to be the boss and decide what I want to do. I feel like when you work in a professional environment, you're basically conditioned to do things in order to please your superior, you know, to perform well. And that makes sense, you know, for the environment. But after not having to do that anymore, I realized just how much of myself I was not tapped into. You know, I never thought I like to write. And then I've written like tons of guides and blogs now. And I didn't consider myself a creative person, but all I do is create things now. I was the person who hated to be on camera during the meetings, and now I make videos all the time. I've had time to like do art, which is what I do, you know, just for me. And I hadn't been able to do that in years just because I was always the last priority. So I feel like I'm a better person. And when I'm a better person, I show up as a better person to everyone who matters in my life. So just, it's, I think that describes it, but I feel like I can't even put into words how transformative it's been.
And it's just so great hearing this, because a few things, like I remember you telling me what was most important to you a while. I'll never forget this. Like you were like, I want to be there for my family, my family, my family. And I just had like almost like goosebumps. Like you're able to put that first. And something else is seeing you grow creatively. This has just emerged that you have this super creative side of you that I feel like is unleashed. And I know we see your painting back there. And
Yeah.
if I may add, like you're now selling your paintings for fun, just for the joy of it. I just want to like highlight that. Like, what a change.
Yes. And it's so funny you say that, because I remember you must have just somehow, your intuition knew things that I was denying. You were like, do you like to write? And I was like, no. You had told me like, I think you would be good on video. And I said, no. And I told you I enjoyed creating art. And you said, well, would you ever consider making that business? I was like, definitely not. But over time, you know, as I was able to kind of move past everything in my professional life, it did totally transform my personal life too. And all the things that I were no's, I kind of re-examined, and I was like, well, maybe.
Yeah, no, that is so funny. And you weren't nearly as difficult as you make that seem. That's so funny. You were a very easy client, but no, it's interesting how like that also shows you like how open you were to this process and to thinking about things differently, which is so important in a coaching engagement. So really kudos to you for that. What would you say, what was your favorite part of our work together? If you could pick just one.
Okay, well, it is hard to pick, but the one thing, this might sound crazy, but the one thing that really stands out to me when I think about it, because I remember this just hitting me in almost every one of our coaching sessions, is my favorite part would be when I called you for our coaching session, hearing you say, hello, Victoria, on the other end of the call. And this is why. Because no matter how I was feeling, if I was excited to share like something with you that, you know, I had done, or if I was just really frustrated and needed to decompress and kind of reset and recalibrate and release, no matter how I was feeling when I called you, whether I was super excited or super discouraged, just somehow wrapped into your tone of voice, I just knew, like, it was almost like an exhale for me. Like, okay, Christa's here. This is going to be fun. I'm going to feel supported, and I'm going to feel better at the end of our call.
That means so much to me to hear that. I'm going to keep up my tone then with how I answer the phone. And that means so much to hear that you felt supported. You felt like this was like a safe space to grow, to share what you needed to share to get to where you want to go.
100%. Even if I was feeling bad, like, oh, I wish, if I wished I was in a different space when I talked to you, I was just like, all right, that just lets me know it's okay. Exhale, like, we're going to be all right. We're going to figure it out together.
And let me ask you this, how does having that type of support, like, because obviously you've not had a coach before. I know you have worked with another coach in the past, but like, how does that make a difference for you as a leader, as a business owner?
I think for me, it's coaching is unlike anything that I've ever experienced because I think most people may think, as I thought, like, even though I had worked with a coach before, I still thought this when I first called you, where you feel like you're gonna like unload on someone, tell them your problems, and then they're gonna tell you what to do. Right.
Mhm.
And then that's gonna fix everything. But that's not how it works. It gets really deep, and it's really impactful and meaningful work that you do, and work that really makes a difference when you commit to it. It's just like, it's so hard to describe if you've never experienced it. But basically, like, you have someone who is completely objective, because no one else in your life is completely objective. Even like your spouse or your partner, or your best friend or your parent or whoever who wants to support you, they are still like, coming from a perspective of maybe they want to protect you, or, they want to protect you from hurt or something like that. It's never going to fit quite right. But a coach really helps you dive deeply into who you are. You help me connect with what really matters to me, and realize also that I have the power to decide that I don't have to, like, do what I should do anymore, that I get to decide what I want to do, and then like really recreate my life from the ground up, just to be like, and having that type of support, it was just invaluable. I mean, I don't think that I would be anywhere different without it. I think I would have probably found a different job and still and it would have been fine, you know.
Mhm.
But it wouldn't have the same like satisfaction and connection and meaning as what I've been able to achieve through working with you. Because I think that most folks, they just don't realize how they are in fact too close to the situation. And, the assumption comes in, most people who seek out coaches are actually really smart, capable people. They're not a complete mess. And because they haven't been able to figure things out on their own, they may assume that there is no solution, but that's not true at all. I mean, I went from being stuck on the narrow career path that society tells you, like, this is it. You do this or else you're a failure, to seeing like what was actually truly possible and what was right for me.
Beautiful. Yes. And all of the great things you said. I mean, I invest in my own coaching as well for all the reasons you said. Just that type of support. It's incredible. And it's different from mentorship. And like what you said, it's for smart people. I think it's not like you can be like crushing it in life and still benefit from coaching. So I love what you said there. And my final question for you, is there anything else that you want to add? Anything that maybe someone should know who's maybe thinking about working with me, that you want to tell them?
Yeah, I feel like what people should know, I think most of all, is that coaching is truly a safe space. Um, a lot of times I think that like we feel judged because we have been judged or we've been told what we should be doing that maybe we're not quite achieving. And so what I would tell people is, they don't need to worry about justifying how they feel or actions they took or what they want to do, or, or where they're coming from, because you're not judging them. You're just trying to get to understand them and help them figure out what's exactly right for them. So I would say, don't waste time worrying about that. Just dive in. And the other thing I would say to people is, if they have been considering it, to just reach out and give it a try, because there's essentially no risk. And, if it's not a fit, it's not like there's pressure to continue. But I know that Everyone that I've ever had a consult with myself, even if they've never signed up to coach with me, they have gotten something rewarding out of just having the call. And I'm sure you've had the same experience.
Yeah.
So it never hurts to just like try it on for take an hour and give it a try and see like what could be possible.
I love that. Yes, for people watching, I don't know if you're like, should I book that consult? Absolutely. And that's something for Victoria as well, to really be in integrity as a coach. You're going to tell someone if they're a fit or not, and you're going to get something from that consultation call. So I think that's a great message to put out there. Like, you have nothing to lose, but you have everything to gain from having a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then like, you know, I think some folks, they're like, I better figure this out before I call. And I get why people feel like that, but at the same time, why? Get support now. You know, get the support.
Yes, why wait? Yes, absolutely. So well said. Well, thank you so much, Victoria, for taking the time to chat with me. It's so great just to celebrate and reflect on all of your success, all the things you've done to get to this point. So thank you for sharing your story. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.